I primarily work in printmaking. Printmaking is a really sort of vast field within the arts, within visual arts. It incorporates a lot of different techniques. And so within printmaking as an overarching umbrella, I tend to focus on monotypes, intaglio process, and relief. There's a lot of different possibilities, a lot of different options, and how you get to creating a final image. So I like the materials, I like the process. It's almost like there's definitely some science involved. It's kind of almost like a pseudoscience maybe. So it's this interesting intersection between materials, image making, alchemy maybe sometimes. I had one class in high school that was a printmaking class. I was fortunate to go to a school that had a pretty robust arts program, and just something about the process I think drew me in at that point in time. We got to go on a visit to the local university, and the printmaking studio was in the basement of this old building. It was dark, pretty dirty, all this heavy equipment and chemical processes happening. So again, I come back to like kind of that intersection of like sort of the arts and sciences, material, process heavy. It's something about the process that I think really ultimately drew me in. A lot of it comes from, for me, trying to describe ideas or feelings or thoughts or observations that I have about life. Things that might be difficult to express through words or through language. Maybe it's trying to express things that don't have language assigned to them, certain experiences, certain feelings. I grew up in New England and I've lived out west now for just over 10 years. And so the landscape was something that I hadn't really focused on before, but after spending so much time in the landscape and in the vast open landscapes of the West, I think that's definitely had a pretty big impact on my work. Most recently, I've fallen into a very solitary practice, which is also something that I need. Work is very demanding socially, and I wouldn't necessarily always consider myself a very social person, so the ability to come into this space and have this space for myself, as selfish as that seems, it helps me feel successful and healthy in the other areas of my life, to be able to have quiet time to be with myself, I guess. I think it's a different way of looking at the world through the lens of being a visual artist, noticing things, creating commentary, bringing those things into dialogue with other people. Fortunately, I don't have to make a living through making my work, so I do have sort of the pleasure to be able to explore the things that I want to do versus doing things that I know will make money. My practice is rooted in doing this for me. And doing what I want to do. Boise's been really good to me, and I didn't know anybody. I went to Boise State, and I just started showing up for things. There's like all the art openings that my professors were having, that friends were having, that other older students in the program were having. Just showing up and talking to people, and I think it's one of the best things you can do within any arts community, is to show up and support other artists. And I think eventually that support will come back to you. Right when I graduated from Boise State, I was accepted into the 2017 Idaho Triennial at the Boise Art Museum. That was a great sort of validating experience. I just got accepted again to the Triennial, so the 2020 Idaho Triennial at Boise Art Museum. Again, that's another great point of validation in terms of motivation to come to the studio. I'm not explicitly making work for that type of validation, but when you do receive that type of recognition or that validation, it's really meaningful to say, my time here is well spent. Art is extremely important to me, not just in my day-to-day life, being in the studio, making. I've dedicated my professional life to it. It really has become integral to everything that I do in my life. Being able to have the freedom to express yourself in whatever manner, whatever way, through whatever means, I think is an extremely important part of being a human being. Being able to let other people know what your experience is like, how you're dealing with life, what your thoughts are. Maybe it's cathartic to be able to get some of these things out of your head. Probably the most powerful thing that art can do is bring people together to talk about ideas, to share emotions. And I think art will always have that place, because I do think that certainly there's art that's motivated by money, but in a large part, our art's not motivated by anything else other than that individual maker's vision to say something, whatever that may be.